Hi, my fellow Americans. I'm Dr. Stephen Clark Bradley, and this is what I think. We're going to go into our second video, which we have entitled these videos, The Color Revolution Has Begun, and it's protecting Joe Biden, and it's seeking to destroy Donald J. Trump, our wonderful president. What that man has gone through. Once Donald Trump said no president should go through this again, and he said not many other people besides me could have handled it, and he's handled it very well. But now, because the election is only less than 2 weeks away, they are really scared because a tremendous scandal has erupted, has really come out. You know, the Bible says that be sure your sin will find you out. I've had that in my own life. I'm not perfect. I've had to learn many things by having my wrong deeds, my wrong actions, my bad parts of my life revealed, even to me. Some things we don't even know we're doing, but Joe Biden knew all about this, and he lied for years and years about it. We finished our last video talking about how the First Amendment for the freedom of the press has been misinterpreted by the Congress, by the people, by the government, and that we have given them free rein to ride roughshod over everybody's liberty, to ride roughshod over the truth, to use lies to accomplish their evil goals politically against those they oppose. It just can't be allowed to happen anymore. It's got to be looked at. But it seems in some ways that the breakdown of the freedom of the press and the wrong interpretation of the freedom of the press and their ability to do things with impunity that they know they'll never be punished for is seemingly irreparable in our present situation. They are able to use terrible ways of getting their news out in a way that doesn't inform people of what's really happened, but in a manner that allows them to accomplish their devious goals politically, socially, financially, in every way. In effect, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, so many of them, and all the talking heads, MSNBC, CNN, I can go on and on. They have crossed the line, and they have to be dealt with. We must deal with it. But the problem we have is that we have a Department of Justice which seems spineless, and that I think are in cahoots with them. The FBI is definitely in cahoots with the media, seeking to destroy Donald J. Trump, our president. The Department of Justice is so strangely silent on this issue about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's son's laptop and the terrible information that is revealed in the emails there that conclusively, absolutely, without question, reveals that everything that Joe Biden has said about never talking to his son about his affairs, his business affairs abroad, were absolutely categorical lies. We will see it. We will look at the quotes, and we will prove it. But it absolutely is shown to be a lie. But the FBI had this laptop since last December in 2019, and fully, you can't tell me, without a reason, left it silent, said nothing, knowing that would absolutely liberate Donald Trump from what he went through in that terrible, evil, fake impeachment. And they did it on purpose, of course. There's no doubt about it. They work for Donald Trump. He is the commander-in-chief, and he is in charge of the whole executive part of the government, the branch of the executive office. And they all work at the pleasure of the president. And they should be fired, including Bill Barr. I loved Bill Barr, but to me, he uses a lot of lip service. He talks a big game, but he does nothing. Where is Bill Barr in this? We haven't heard a word. Why? And I have to say that if Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, knew that they had this in February, he had to know because he had to assign someone to look at it. If he knew, you can know You can absolutely know that Bill Barr knew too, and never said a word to the president. Knowing what the president was going through, he too should be fired. I hate to say that. I like the man, but he's in cahoots. Now, they should be investigated. But how can you trust the deep state to investigate itself? That's just not logical. How are they going to declare themselves guilty? There has to be a special prosecutor brought in to look at the whole situation that's going on. Someone from outside the government that owes nothing to anybody and has no swamp on them. Bill Barr has as much swamp on himself as all the others that came before him, because he came from the swamp. They cannot honestly investigate themselves or take action against themselves. Don't you agree? Doesn't that make sense? Would you condemn yourself? I think I would. I really do. I know myself, because I know God is watching me, and that means something to me. But when these people have been in the government for so long, they know this person who knows that person who knows that person who knows what they did, and they all have something on them. And I'm sure Bill Barr does too. I mean, he just talks a big game, and he's courageous at that, but he doesn't seem to have any courage at all to actually take action. Where's the Durham report? Where is it? 2 years. Nothing happening. Nothing. They knew that should come out before the election. The people should know who they're voting for. They shouldn't leave the people, the American people, with doubts and innuendo and misunderstanding and confusion revolving around in their head before they vote. But that's the exact goal of the media and the deep state, because they're all working in a color revolution, seeking to destroy the president who you and I, the American people, chose to make our president, and who we love and who we approve of and who we want to re-elect. They don't want him back in office. They want him gone. They want him to be destroyed. Twitter and Facebook are criminal social media platforms. They declared that the material came out against Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, because really, truly, this is not a Hunter Biden story. This is a Joe Biden story. Hunter Biden did these things, yes, at the behest of his father. And we're going to see that in these videos. So let's not center on Hunter Biden. I want to say I feel sorry for him, but he's got so many rotten videos of abusing children on that laptop that he needs to go to prison at least for that. Child abuse, sexual abuse, rape. But Joe Biden knew all these things were happening. And he knew he was enriching himself. This is not a Hunter Biden story. This is a Joe Biden story. And he needs to pay a price for it. And certainly, it totally disqualifies him to ever become president of the United States. And I can say, if he gets elected, he will absolutely be impeached. Unless the Democrats take everything. Because all of them should be impeached as well. Because they hate America. But the moment this came out, it was immediately cut off by Twitter and by Facebook and by the media, by the Washington Post, and by the New York Times, and all across the country. Even though the New York Post is the oldest and the fourth largest newspaper in circulation in the whole country. Think about it. Now, why did they do that? Because they knew that these emails revealed, confirmed that Hunter Biden introduced Joe Biden to Vadim Pozharsky, I hope I said it right, who is the third most important person in Burisma in the Ukraine. And he's the third highest person in that seriously suspect and investigated energy company. We already know that Hunter Biden was given a job to be on the board, was making $80,000 a month, and had no experience at all for that. Man, he's a lucky guy. Well, how did he do that on his own? He didn't. He did it on the name of his father, vice president at the time. He was even vice president then, not after he was vice president, while he was vice president. to be on the board. And at that time, Joe Biden, and many times since, has said, I have never spoken to my son about his dealings across the pond there overseas. I have never spoken to him about anything, not once. And yet, everything that happened in these emails shows us that he absolutely not only had talked to people, but even met with them. He lied. He is a liar. He's lied about so many things. Yeah, I mean, he's a plagiarist. What is the definition of a plagiarist? Intellectual thief. He lied about that too, and even blamed it on one of his staffers. So the man is a barefaced liar. All right, he is systemic lying. We'll call it that. He's a systemic liar, and he's not very good at it because he's not smart in any way, shape, or form. This man, excuse me if I mess up his name, Vadim Pozharsky, was a very important person. And immediately after Hunter Biden got on the board, began to squeeze Hunter Biden to use his influence that he had with his vice president father in order to help and to push forward Burisma, that company that was under investigation. Now, it's very interesting. We're going to read some of these here to you. But Joe Biden remains totally silent about it. Here's some actual quotes that I want to read to you about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's Ukraine connection. Later, we're going to go into their Chinese connection. So what we're going to look at right now is about everything that's happened between them and the lies and the treason that took place between Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and the Ukraine. So here, Fox News, Peter DOOCY, on September 23rd, 2019, quote, Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings? Biden bristled, man. He didn't like it at all. He didn't like it because, he protests too much, as Shakespeare said, which shows he's caught in a lie. And he responded, everybody looked at this, and everybody's looked at it, and there's nothing there. Ask the right questions. He yelled at Peter DOOCY. I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. Exact quote. A quotation directly from Joe Biden. I haven't, and on to Politico, August 28, 2019, barely a year ago, just barely over a year ago. I have never discussed with my son or my brother, James Biden, or with anyone else, anything having to do with their businesses, period. That's pretty conclusive, don't you think? And I will do the same thing that we did in the administration with Obama. There will be an absolute wall between the personal and private business interests and the government. He promised. There wasn't any hint of scandal at all when we were there. I'm going to propose the same kind of strict rules. Oh my gosh. If he does that, we're all fried. His rules aren't very strict. That's why I never talked with my son or my brother or anyone else, even distant family, about their business interests, period. Excuse me. Savannah Guthrie, she was the one who was in the talk the other day that Donald Trump did. And she just kept interrupting him. She's very strong, actually. I didn't like the way she handled Trump, but I like her courage. And she's not afraid even to confront Joe Biden. In the town hall, she was pretty tough, but here she's tough too. NBC, Savannah Guthrie, television interview, February 3, 2020. Guthrie, do you think it was wrong for him, Hunter Biden, to take that position knowing that it was really because that company wanted access to you, Mr. Vice President? Biden, well, that's not true. You're saying things that you know nothing about. All right? No one said that. Who said that? Who said that? So defensive. Guthrie said, well, don't you think it's just one of those things where people think, well, that seems to be kind of sleazy? Why would he have a job if it's not for who his father was? Good question. Biden, because he's a bright guy. I guess the question I'm asking of you is, was it right, Mr. Vice President? Biden, appearance? Yeah, well, he said he regretted having done it. Speak to him. He's a grown man. See, everything's somebody else's fault. But that's what he said at that time. Okay? Now let's look at the emails. The emails revealed to the public that Joe Biden lied each time he said those words. Each time he denied having talked to his son or anyone from his family about their overseas dealing, he was in a bare-faced lie. He is a liar. May 2014. This is an email from Vadim Pozharsky, who we mentioned before, who's the third most important person in Burisma and was visiting the United States. And this email demonstrates that Pozharsky, Burisma's third most important executive, requested that Hunter Biden employ his father, Joe Biden, who was vice president at the time, to use political influence to help their corrupt energy company. That's what it says in the email. This is what Pozharsky said to Hunter Biden. We urgently need your advice on how you could use your influence to convey a message or a signal, etc., to stop what we consider to be politically motivated actions. They didn't put Hunter Biden on there because he was handsome, or because he was smart, or because he had experience. We put him there because he had a vice president father. That's all it was for. April 17, 2015, around 1 year after Hunter Biden was hired by Burisma for $50,000, we found out now it's actually $80,000 a month. The reported email from Vadim Pozharsky again speaks completely contrary to Joe Biden's details that he had never spoken or met any of them. And it proves that the Democrat-Socialist presidential candidate actually met with Pozharsky from Burisma, which is completely contrary to what he said before. This is the email from Pozharsky to Hunter Biden. Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spend time together with him. It's really an honor and a pleasure, as we spoke yesterday evening, and would be great to meet today for a quick coffee. What do you think? I could come around to your office somewhere around noon before I go to the airport. And Joe Biden said it's not true. It's an absolutely proven truth that he met together with this man and met with him often, others too. And we can prove when we get to the Chinese part in our next video that he did the same thing with them, all for making money. These revelations that we see in these videos absolutely concur with everything that we've said about Joe Biden, that he's a pervert, he abused and raped a woman, that he's a liar, that he's a plagiarist, that he's a racist, and also he's a traitor to the United States of America. We're going to go into more of this. There's so much more to reveal. In our next video, we're going to go into many different things that are going to show you why you should not vote for this evil man. This is not just because he's senile, and he is. At that time, he was not. He knew what he was doing. And he still knows the lie today, even if he's senile. He has denied ever meeting with this man. And he looked at his records. There's nothing on my schedule. Would you put that on your schedule? If you know it's wrong, wouldn't you just hide it? Of course it's not on your schedule. We wouldn't expect it to be. But it happened, and you lied, and you need to pay a price for it. Join me for my next video. A lot more to say, a lot more.